Hello collectors, I'm Joe Prodzik. Here with me today is the Kato Kid himself, Quang Tran. Now today Kato and I are going to be reviewing the Thanos on Throne maquette by Sideshow Collectibles. If you haven't already, make sure you check out our full unboxing to get the details on the packaging and assembly of this statue. Now if you're not familiar with our reviews, we evaluate statues based on 6 categories. They are collectability potential, which includes price, edition size, demand, and value, character likeness and design, sculpt and or mixed media, paint, comparison to the prototype, and overall quality. We give the statue a rating from 1 through 5 in each category, and then we average that out, and the score that we get at the end is our review score. Kato, viewers, first up, let's talk a little bit about the character. Thanos' first appearance was in Iron Man number 55 in February of 1973, featuring a story by Jim Starlin that was scripted by Mike Frederick. Storyline from that issue continued through Captain Marvel number 25 through 33, Marvel Feature number 12, Daredevil 107, and Avengers number 125. He returned in an extended storyline that spanned Strange Tales 178 through 181, Warlock number 9 through 11, Marvel Team Up number 55, and the 1977 annuals for Avengers and Marvel 2-in-1. Character was revived in Silver Surfer Volume 3, number 34, and guest starred until issue number 59. Thanos also appeared in the Thanos Quest and in one of his most well-known comic book series, the Infinity Gauntlet. Character also appears in various Marvel Cinematic Universe films, including The Avengers, portrayed by Damien Poitier, and Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, Avengers Infinity War, and its untitled sequel, portrayed by Josh Brolin. The character has appeared in other Marvel-endorsed products, including animated television series, arcade, and video games. So Kato, let's start off with the collectability potential of this statue.
Yep.
Thanos is priced at $1,200. A very expensive piece from Sideshow.
Yes.
I think one of their other comparable expensive pieces might be the Voltron statue, which was also around $1,200.
Yeah.
Otherwise, their traditional Marvel premium formats at quarter scale are generally around the $500 to $600 price range. So they have been getting up there with Deadpool at $700, and now the Magneto maquette that's going to be released later on this year, maybe even next year, with a $750 price tag. So that's quite a hefty price on him. The edition size of the exclusive version,
750.
750. He sold out in less than 10 minutes, Kato. And the regular edition is going to have edition size of 3,500. So overall, Kato, $1,200, 750 exclusives, 3,500 regulars. What do you think about the overall collectability potential of this statue?
I think the exclusive is going to be really important because, especially like for you, a lot of collectors are really like the exclusive portrait. Some obviously do or don't, obviously, but for me, I don't think it's really a huge exclusive or fail, depending on how you look at it. I think some collectors are gonna be fine with the non-exclusives. I mean, I think it's a good piece for. I just think the edition size for the non-exclusive is just a lot, with 3,500. But I think for the exclusive one being 750, I think that's actually pretty reasonable.
What do you think about that $1,200 price tag?
I think for how big it is, I definitely think it's worth the price for it.
You know, for me, I think this is an exclusive or fail statue. Definitely, if you don't like the exclusive piece and you're going to keep it in your collection, it's not going to be an exclusive fail for you. But as far as collectability potential, with only 750 exclusives, which is still a decent amount, I think the exclusive is going to be much more sought after than the regular version. It's hard to tell how in demand this statue is going to be, because there are going to be over 4,000 Thanos on Throne statues out there, and so that is still going to be a lot of statues. So a lot of collectors are going to be happy with just getting a regular. And the regular is what they're calling the collector edition is actually still available on the Sideshow website for any Tom, Dick, or Harry to order. It's the exclusive that is kind of going up in price in the aftermarket. I don't know if it's selling for a lot right now, but I know people are posting prices for it at a very high price, $2,000 and up is what I think I've been seeing these go for. So overall, I think, kind of on the fence. Yes, it sold out quickly. Yes, the price is rising, but is that going to continue? I'm not so sure. $1,200 for the statue. I think this is the highest price I have paid for a retail price I've paid for a production statue. I've paid a little bit more for some customs, and I've paid a little bit more for some aftermarket statues. But this is the highest price I've paid for a full production piece. Do I think that $1,200 is worth it? Yes, I absolutely do. Reason being, if you look at the crazy amount of details on this statue, it's just insane. So detailed is this throne. So completely detailed. The texture on Thanos, and then just the overall size of him. He's, a lot bigger than your standard quarter scale statue. So I definitely think he earns that $1,200 price tag. Next up, Kato, we're going to talk about the character likeness and design. So as you know, Thanos is portrayed a lot of different ways. Maybe you don't know that, Kato, but he's portrayed a lot of different ways. He's portrayed as more human-sized, and then he's also portrayed differently as more of a Hulk-sized person, or not person, but Titan. He's a mad Titan. So this is obviously a bigger version of the character, but he is portrayed like that. I think the costume is sort of a mix, not quite comic booky, but not quite movie either. I think it's kind of a...
I feel like it's a mixture of both.
It's kind of somewhere in between,
Mm-hmm.
but if they had this style of character in a comic book, he would feel right at home, I think. He is sitting on a throne. I don't know if I've ever seen him sitting on a throne. No, we probably have.
Yeah.
Not something like this. He's sitting on something like this more in the Avengers movie, but it's not like Thanos is a character that should have a throne, and you think of him, he definitely would have a throne, right? He's kind of egotistical, and that's definitely fits his style. And this style of the throne with its skulls and its death images definitely fits the character. So Kwong, how familiar are you with the Thanos character?
I want to say not that much. I've seen him, obviously, in the MCU, seeing him a little bit there. I did read the comic that I got you, and I thought it was great. The other series after that, I thought was pretty bad. So it was like, but other than that, that's all as much as I read with him.
You're talking about the Infinity series?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I read the one that's behind you, and then which one came first? I forgot what it was.
Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, Infinity Crusade.
Yeah, the last two was not good. I personally think so.
But as far as Thanos compares to the character in those comics,
I think he did really good.
Yeah,
really good.
I think they did an excellent job.
Yeah.
I think it's they were spot on with their design of this character. Next up, Kato, we're going to talk about sculpt and mixed media. Obviously, Thanos doesn't have any mixed media, so let's talk a little bit about the sculpt. This Thanos statue was sculpted by Will Harbottle and Justice Joseph. So we've seen we got to see a making of video of Thanos, Kato. A lot of hard work went into this statue.
Oh yeah.
A lot of work. He looked like he was going to come in a lot of different pieces, but he actually came very, very simplified, right?
Yeah.
You had his body, you had the chair, you had the armrest, and then you had the gauntlet and the head. So very simple and easy piece to put together. But Kato, give us your thoughts on the overall sculpt of this statue.
Honestly, I think the sculpt is spot on to pretty much everything that I can see. It's just great. I think my most favorite thing though on the statue is going to be him, gripping onto the skull of the chair. That looks so killer. I did not see that until actually when I started looking at the statue more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the sculpt on this one is great. I think it's great. There's not really much that you can really say that's bad about the sculpt. It's just spot on. The character is just great looking.
Yeah, I mean, the sculpt is just amazing.
Yeah.
He is chock full of detail. Chock full of detail.
Texture on his suit, too, is like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. The textures, the piping, you look at his boots, and his boots have a lot of detail in them. And then just the throne itself, right? Even under his butt where he sits, there was detail under there, even though you're not going to see it. Mm-hmm. That way, there's no abrupt cut to where it is on the throne. You can tell he's sitting on the throne. But look at this detail on the back of this throne. You got all these tubes running up and down. You got the skulls. You got cracks. You got just tons and tons of detail. This is a statue that looks good all the way around. And that's one thing that I really look for and that I really like is you can take some other great statues, like some of those behind you, Kato, and you turn them around and they don't look so good from that angle. Not that they're supposed to look good from the back. As a collector, you do notice things like that and you do appreciate that type of detail. So I agree. This piece here, Kato, where he's crushing that skull on there, is just awesome. What do you think about the face sculpts?
The face sculpt, I think, is really good. I remember people were a little bit complaining about the blue teeth, the blue gum on his teeth, but I think I think that's normal, especially like for us when we're doing like that. We're gonna have something like that as well. The only thing that it's not really. I'm not saying that there's nothing bad about the sculpt, but I really would have liked one of the heads to actually light up with their eyes. I think that would have been killer. I think that would have been that would have been a really nice touch for him. That would have been nice. I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna custom make that because that would make this statue even better.
Could be. I know there are some custom heads that are gonna come out for this. Custom heads usually run $200, $300, $400 each. So, but in an unmasked portrait or an unhelmed portrait would have been a good addition to this piece, especially because we saw in those trailers for Infinity War, he's not wearing his armor. He has that kind of bald look. So that could have been a nice addition. But, that's not really a knock on the sculpt. That's just something that... that's a want. Yeah, that would have been a cool want. The statue's definitely not missing anything because it doesn't have a third portrait, but that could have been definitely cool. I do like the musculature in the statue in the sculpt. If you can see it on the camera here, but we'll have close-up videos. So you can see he has a lot of detail in his musculature in his arms. You can see that horseshoe look in his tricep. I'll spin it around, Kato, so you can see.
Yeah.
So you can see that horseshoe look there in his tricep. You got big bulging biceps.
This dude's been working out, man.
You definitely see the sinews of muscle in Thanos. So it does make you wonder. Does Thanos go to Gold's Gym? Is there a Gold's Gym on Titan? Kato? I'm not so sure, but overall, I think the sculpt is magnificent. Right, now let's talk a little bit about the paint on the statue. Oftentimes, Kato, the paint is probably the hardest thing to match to the prototype.
Yeah.
As we know, the prototypes are painted by master painters, and they are meticulous, and they spend a lot of time painting these statues. In this case, the paint was done by Casey Love and the Sideshow paint team. So you're never going to get the full paint quality of the prototype in a production piece because these are made en masse, Kato. We've all seen pictures of lines and lines of statues being a painted production style. So it's not going to quite match that of a true master paint artist who can dedicate, a whole month to painting a statue. So that being said, Kato, what are your thoughts on the paint?
I think the paint's pretty good as so far. All the paints that I've seen, the only thing that I personally just don't like is some of the blue coloring that's on the base. Mm-hmm. Some of it just feels kind of a little, maybe painted a little lazy-ish. I'm not exactly sure how to describe it, but like some of them just doesn't fit. Like some of them are kind of like, I feel like I said earlier, like maybe like a 5-year-old just randomly just coloring on one of the dents. That's what it kind of looks like. But most of them look pretty good. I want to say like 90% of them look really good. But there are some 10% of it that's kind of like feels a little off and doesn't fit with the others, especially when it comes to the paint. I think when it comes to the paint, my most favorite is the skull in the back of the statue. Mm-hmm. It's like very shiny and it's like purple looking, which I think is really awesome because his face of Thanos is already purple as well, and I think that's phenomenal how they did that.
You're not even going to see that part of the statue either, Kato, but they still put a lot of attention to detail on the paint back there. It.
Because I thought they would have the same look right here too, but they don't. For some odd reason, the back looks a lot better. But that's just, I still think that that's a home run for me, to be honest. Pretty good, really good.
Yeah, overall, I think the paint job is really good. As with any production statue, you're going to look close, you're going to look hard enough, you are going to see some minor flaws in the paint. Nothing too crazy, just some minor scuffs, maybe tiny little spots here or there. They're going to be a tiniest bit darker. Nothing I would even, I don't even know if I could pick it up in a photo, Kato, or video. I don't quite agree with you about the blue. I do agree that it could be a tad bit better in those blue areas. I'm not sure that the 5-year-old reference is accurate because I have definitely seen some statues where it looks like a 5-year-old painted some of the details on it, some recent pieces. I won't name them right now, Kato, but we've seen some recent pieces that companies have had to go redo because I thought they looked like a 5-year-old painted. So this is a little bit better than that. But if we look at those blue spots, maybe a slightly different shade of blue. And maybe I can see Kato's point a little bit here on the back of the statue, definitely. Some of those blue lines look a little less unnatural than some of the others. But overall, I think the paint is good. He has different shades of blue there in his costume. And you can't really spot any major flaws with the paint. You can only really spot some minor flaws, some minor scuffs, very, very, very minor details that are just normal for a production statue. I do like the metallic look of the paint on his throne. Like Kato mentioned, it's really good. Some great details here around the edges of the metal here, and I do really like the skulls, as Kato pointed out. So overall, outstanding paintwork by Sideshow. Now let's talk a little bit about the comparison to the prototype. So as we know, like we said with the sculpt and the paint, you're not going to get a prototype quality statue, but you want to get as close to prototype quality as you can. So Kato, how do you think Sideshow did?
I honestly think they did a really good job. I'm actually pretty impressed. I think this is probably, that I know of, probably one of their best prototype looking statue, to be honest. Like, it's really good. It looks pretty almost the same, I want to say. A little, like you said, a little bit of the sculpt has been changed, and a little bit of the paint obviously could be better, but yeah, I think it's still really good.
Yeah, I think overall Sideshow delivered what they promised. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes Like example, the recent Wonder Woman statue did not come out according to the prototype. That was a movie-based piece. They're a lot better in matching the prototype to comic book pieces like this. I think my only thoughts when I saw the production piece and then seeing this in person is there's not quite as much detail in the face. I think it did lose a little bit detail in the face. I think the prototype has a little bit more shading, more pronounced features and depth in the face. And that would be my only thought on how it compares to the prototype. Would be that face just lacks a little bit of the detail that I saw in the prototype. But overall, I think Sideshow promised us a $1,200 fantastic Thanos statue, and I think they delivered that. Now let's talk about the overall quality of this statue. If you've watched the unboxing, you know it wasn't that difficult to put together. Yeah. It definitely has a good weight to it. But if you're expecting a solid statue, it's not going to be solid. We've seen these a couple of these statues arrive broken, and they're definitely hollow inside. But that's what I would expect. That's what we're getting from Sideshow is a hollow statue, but it's not light by any means. The base wasn't light. Thanos wasn't light. Everything has what I'm going to say is an appropriate weight to it. There aren't any serious flaws that I can see in the statue. He fits together well. It was easy to assemble him. He looks correct. I don't think, he's sitting on a chair. He's not going to have any leaning issues or anything like that. The magnets were strong when they needed to be. Definitely the head magnet is strong on the chair. The left armrest is a little bit lighter, and so that magnet is a little bit lighter. So I think it needs to be to kind of be able to fit correctly under that arm, because you have to adjust that one a little bit more than you do the right side. And then the right side is heavier, and as a result, the magnet pull is a little heavier too. So overall quality, Kato, I can't really complain.
Yeah, I think the overall quality, I pretty much think you just took the words out of my mouth. It's exactly the same. I think it's great.
Now some collectors have received broken pieces. They have received some flawed pieces.
Yeah, I think like the legs mostly broken sometimes, I think. Yeah, I've been seeing that, a common thing.
Some rubs on the paint. But listen, we're always going to have that. With any company, with any statue, some collectors are going to get broken and flawed pieces. It just happens during shipping. It happens with every company that's out there. So it really stinks when you're that person. Believe me, I've been that person, and it definitely stinks. And you're definitely upset, especially when you pay the price of Thanos. If you get a flawed piece, you're going to be upset about it. But Sideshow has really good customer service, in my experience, and I know they take care of their customers. I know some customers aren't going to be happy when they have small flaws, and Sideshow offers them $40 back. But for any major flaws, they're going to get replacements when available. I was lucky. I'm glad I have a near as close to flawless piece, I think, as you can possibly get, especially because I opened them up probably five days after everybody else, so I was a little bit worried if I had some problems that I was going to be further back in that line for replacements. But I was lucky to have no flaws. But if shipping has robbed you of that, I'm definitely sorry to hear that. But it does happen with every statue company. But I think the majority of pieces that we've been seeing have been okay. All right, our final verdict, Kato. Overall, give me your thoughts. Give me your score.
I personally think it's a phenomenal piece. Like I said, the only thing I would have changed is it's more of me. I don't think it's really Sideshow's fault or anything. It would have been nice to have a head that head was light up. I think something that I did not actually mention was I think I would have possibly changed the Infinity Stones as well. I think they look a little too candy-like instead of stones. You know what I mean?
Gems.
Yeah, gems. So that's something maybe I could have like. When you see when I'm thinking of a gem, I kind of see it. I kind of look at it like the MCU gems that we've seen so far. I don't know if you've seen them yet, but like for example, in the Avengers, the new Avengers trailer.
I totally know what you're saying, Kato.
When he puts the gem in, I think it would look a lot better like that.
So here is the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Looks more close to comic books here.
Yeah.
You would have preferred it to be more of like a stone.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that would have been good. You know, honestly, scope's great. Then again, still, I can't get enough of that. That's just phenomenal. That's just superb. That's just, wow. Yeah, there's not that much there's really not that much cons you can say about this piece. It's overall great. Great piece. Amazing piece. Amazing piece.
So where did you end up on your score?
I ended up giving this piece, out of all the categories, a 4.5.
4.5 out of 5. Okay, well, let me tell you, that is exactly where I landed as well. A 4.5 out of 5. Now, let me say, this statue, I think, has now taken the crown of the best statue in my collection. And it's probably, I think, is going to take the crown of my favorite statue in my collection. Those two things I don't think are always the same. I think before that, probably the most highest quality, best statue in my collection, I think is probably Batgirl. And just, I think she's a near perfect statue for me. Just her paint and flaw, but we won't get into Batgirl. So I think this is going to, even though I gave Batgirl a perfect 5, I think for me this is just based on overall design is going to be my best and my favorite statue in my collection. There is, I think, to me, 10% room for improvement in some areas. You know, definitely for nitpicking, we can nitpick the paint slightly, room for improvement, as all production pieces have. Kato can maybe nitpick the stones on the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm nitpicking a little bit of lost detail in the face. I can nitpick that maybe his boot needs to, if he's moving his foot this way, maybe his boot needs to be a little bit more scrunched up. Maybe that blue could be a slightly better in terms of the paint in some areas. But those are that's
minor
nitpicking to minor details. And then I did have to deduct a little bit for the flaws I've been seeing on other people's pieces and some of the pieces that have arrived broken. So I did deduct some points in that category. Overall, I think this is an amazing statue. I do not regret getting it. I do not regret paying $1,200 for this statue. I don't regret anything about it. I think it's going to be a featured piece in my collection. My only hope is that Sideshow gives us some more cosmic characters to go with them. Love to see a new Silver Surfer. I'd love to see a new Adam Warlock. But overall, I think this is an amazing statue. I think it's going to become my favorite statue in my collection, if it isn't already. I just love the character of Thanos. I love how Sideshow has portrayed him. I love all the details. It's just an amazing piece. 10%. I don't even, and I'm sitting here, Kato, and I'm questioning that 10%. I deducted some points here or there, and I'm wondering, am I too nitpicky? Am I too nitpicky? Should this statue get a 5, Kato? I just think there's 10%. Maybe not even 10%, maybe like 5%, maybe 2% that could just be slightly improved. So I did deduct a little bit of points in some areas. I deducted like half a point for collectability because of... I deducted a full point for collectability because that 3,500 in the collector edition is a lot. Deducted some small amounts for the paint here or there, but 4.5 out of 5 for amazing. I think that's where I'm landing. So let Kato and I know what you think of this Thanos statue. If you think it's a perfect 5 out of 5, you think it's a perfect 10 out of 10, let us know in the comment section below. If you think we're being a little bit too nitpicky with this, let us know that too if you think we're spot on. But we are breaking down the statue. We want to get into some of the finer details of the piece when we're reviewing a statue. So thanks for joining us on our latest statue review. Make sure you click the subscribe button to keep up to date on all of our latest unboxings, reviews, and don't forget our show called Statue Talk, where Kato and I sit around, share our thoughts and opinions on upcoming statue previews, pre-orders. So Kato, closing thoughts?
Amazing piece. Amazing piece. Come on, man.
If you get an exclusive, get one. If you can't, collector edition is still available. There are going to be some custom heads out, so don't be worrying if you got that missed out on that exclusive portrait. And remember, statue collecting is more than just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. This has been Joe Prodzik.
Quang Tran.
Thanks for watching.